evening, everyone. This is meant to be an exhilarating conversation because it is very clear, as the President has said, that the way we've been doing things in the past is just no longer going to be possible in the future. From the depth of the experience that the Philippines is going through now, is it possible to both reconstruct both the infrastructure and the hope?
The typhoon was so huge, and that's the reason probably why we got so much attention, because even international experts and even non-experts saw how big the typhoon was. So in respect of hope, we cannot be hopeless. We may need help, but we're not helpless. Ecologically stable, economic resilient, and being able to just stand up right away and just shrug it off and say, we move on. And I think that's how we, in our context wherein adaptation is really important, that's the kind of attitude we want to have. That, as I've said, even if we get so tired, we want to stand up and be proud that these things don't break us.
I want to see the world populated with people who are poverty-free and food secure. Everything is in it. As long as you are poverty-free, you are food secure, everything else is in it. The countries right from Senegal to Djibouti, they have decided to plant trees, and within those trees, try to see how best they can have a livelihood. So this is climate smart agriculture mixed with forestry, and then at the same time, they are stopping the spread of the Sahara Desert southwards.
So what I want, Christiana, what we all want, is a vision of a climate-resilient future, where, in fact, all rights to food, to water, to health, education, and life are protected, where women are safe and empowered and secure and contributing equally with men, where farmers and herders and fisherfolk have adapted to the changes. And for this to happen, we have to put more emphasis and, frankly, more money into support for adaptation. And we have to also recognize that there are certain things that we won't be able to adapt for. There are so many practical lessons of what communities are doing, what cities are doing. And the upside of doing the right thing, making the right investments. You know, you were asking questions about what people do. I think it's very important that we listen to the voices of those who actually are the experts.
You were probably one of the first who really raised your voice and said, it absolutely pays off to do something now, because the cost later is so much greater. Is that still true?
I think it's more worrying than when the Stern Review was published 7 years ago. If we invested 1 or 2% of GDP wisely, over and above current investments, we would not only get that fundamental, radical reduction of risks, in other words, save the planet for our grandchildren, we would also have an economy that was cleaner, quieter, safer, more energy secure. We can see the kinds of investments that we have to make, and it's development, adaptation, mitigation wrapped up together. So for me, actually, it's about political will. We don't know everything, but we know enough to start, and start strongly, and we'll discover things along the way. It's the political will to start, and that's, I think, the key place that we have to think about in making our arguments and making our case. Show it's possible, show it's attractive, and also, and very strongly, show that it's the right thing to do.
We need to we need to reform our model of development. We need a model of development that encompass respect for human rights, good governance, respect for the right of community, respect for indigenous people's rights. If we hope to have a habitable planet for future generations, we must preserve the tradition, knowledge of indigenous people. Indigenous people are often highly marginalized with their own countries and in international dialogue. Protecting them and their culture is essential to the survival of the planet.
What I want to build on is the point that Nick made. What we need is not just political will, which he emphasized, it's transformative determination, transformative leadership. But we need to talk about what the benefits will be, as you're encouraging us to do, to get that transformative leadership. And we need pressure on leaders to be transformative, because we know what to do, as Nick said. It's a world that will be so good for our children and grandchildren, and they will thank us, because obviously we made the right decisions between now and 2015 in order to trigger that kind of movement.